those cheeks.
I wrote, through her own isolation and sexuality. Her
My
sexuality
metaphorical
isn't a
cheeks.
given. You need to earn this.
Kevin, get the chopsticks.
Oh my god.
Girl, what are we talking about?
Carmilla, the most
I was tempted
lesbian
to
to ever
bring-
lesbian.
No. The eating ass with chopsticks.
The original lesbian.
I'm less
Original
concerned with
die.
that one.
I was tempted
Okay.
to bring
Whatever.
the Burger King can as the crown of wrath.
Does this make sense?
What is this, hereditary?
Does this make sense? No, it does not.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it does not.
The answer is no. Oh,
Um,
sorry.
I don't really need to ask you guys, you know,
What
who
happened
wants
last
to have, as Dom says, heroic inspiration. Because we're not gonna have anything.
So all of us
anything
get it.
rolls. Yeah. So like, if you guys do any rolls, everybody's gonna get one, just in case.
I finished Belle's character sheet recently by just cementing the fact that I failed all 3 death saves, so now it just says dead. Just perfect.
So, the way we're gonna start this off is who dies first, specifically. If you know specifically how old your character is now, just you know how old your character is now.
Should we just go around and say what age we
Yeah.
die at and then figure it out?
I figured out my year.
Because you know your year. The year is 3717. So
Tomorrow.
tomorrow.
I promise you that.
So if you guys want to,
Probably 60s or 70s,
I imagine the same.
if they're lucky.
Okay, so Quinn lives to 100.
yeah.
So 75 more years. Tell him. Oh, ways to.
Dragon.
We'll get to it when we get to her. Okay. Wow.
My assumption is that it's gonna go Fred first, the 2 gays.
I'm also 60s and they're older though, so we gotta.
Oh, that is true.
What about this one?
That one's second to last,
Oh, okay.
and this one's last.
Girl, how old do you live to be?
Big
Forever.
smile.
An amount.
Numbers!
So yeah, what's age right now and age at which you die?
They're both 28.
And how old is Fred?
20. So he dies in 3766.
Yeah. So then you guys probably go first then.
Mm-hmm.
So go do
How long is
the other things.
Kids to 69.
Okay.
Good
I
job,
think
Fred.
the 2 of us are gonna go together.
I mean, that makes sense.
They start off after getting back to Regalia, living for a good amount of time there. They spend a good amount of time also trying to find as much information as they can on Catalia. In addition, trying to find any information on the people that they saw during the vision last time they saw Catalia. And then it includes any information, current whereabouts, and any dirt on them.
Yeah. How long do you try and look for this? Like, even if you don't find anything for like.
The rest of his life.
Okay.
He doesn't focus on it a
Then
lot, but
I'll get back to you.
it's always a thing.
I'll get back to you on that when you get older.
Okay. One of the things he does is he helps Santiago begin to start taking down the Sol Muerto bit by bit. But around their 6-month period of time, they eventually start to get antsy with the way things are run. Gets antsy with working within confines of the law. and starts working outside of the law, making connections in addition to taking down people in secret from Santiago, Nefir, and everybody else. And that's around the time when they get married.
Gay wedding.
Gay wedding.
Your turn.
Who's the priest?
Yeah. Also around this point, they decide that they need a little bit of space, and haha, no pun intended. They get a little cottage in the woods somewhere. They take M with them, and they start trying to take stabs at a quiet domestic life. And it's at that point that they get married, about half a year in. They both decide that despite Nefir's perhaps secret wishes for a big flamboyant wedding, that it's probably for the best that they have a smaller, more intimate ceremony. They get married outside of Santiago's house, right beneath the balcony where they kissed for the first time. They invite very few people. Santiago and his wife are there, obviously. Yurlos, Fred and Grim, Nefir's family, Tad and Miz, Barney and Cass. Edgar is a fantastic flower bird. M is the ring bearer. And they debate for quite some time before finally deciding to hyphenate their last names into the most long and pretentious last name that has ever existed. And they decide that in lieu of traveling to one place for their honeymoon, they decide to just take the Winnebago and go until they decide to stop. They travel through the entire galaxy and visit a whole bunch of places and see where the wind moves them for a while. And a couple of months after the wedding, Colt gets a fun little surprise, which is Nefir comes home and says, "Don't be mad," and there is a small child hanging off of his side. A little changeling girl who decided that it was a good idea to try to pickpocket Nefir. Nefir caught her, obviously, because she's 7. Chased her down to get his stuff back, and instead of yelling at her or getting her in trouble, was like, "Alright, your form was sloppy, here's how you do better." And in response to this, she kind of just stared at him bug-eyed and then refused to leave. And that is how Nefir and Colt came to adopt their daughter, Piper. And they become dads for the second time. And then bounce that back to you now.
So, around that time, after about a year after the events of the end of the campaign, the two of them get so restless that they decide to leave behind their nice little quiet life, as it's just not cutting it for them, and eventually begin to use all of the connections that Colt has made in his time, dismantling one crime syndicate so they can build a new one. I think they spend a good amount of time there. I do think they take Piper with them.
Under a new name, Winnie, short for Winnebago.
Yep.
Oh my fucking god!
As for
that birth certificate sucks.
Her real name is Piper. Or they just, you gotta have a fake name.
As for M, they let him decide where he wants to go. If he wants to stay with them, then they will 100% support him no matter what he chooses. Even if he can't be a part of their new life. I leave that up to you. Decide what he does there. And I think becoming a new crime group, unfortunately, over that time, they also distance themselves from Val and everyone else. as they don't want to compromise his new life. And I think outside of that, that's just kind of what they do for the next 40 years of their life. I don't think I could tell you exactly how they go, exactly what happens. But I like to think that at some point their lives finally catch up with them. After they've had at least a good life, I don't think their end is very good. All they really want is to make sure that whatever way it ends, they go together. And I don't know if they get that, but... Did we get information on Catalia and the rest?
Information on Catalia you definitely find. I mean that you find early on.
Mm-hmm.
But information about the two people that you guys saw. I think this might be like an actual roll type situation if you do want to roll for it. Because it would be very hard. It'd be very hard to actually get this information.
Should we both be rolling for this?
And you both can if you want to. This is more so of a... At this moment in time, the people would kind of like just be being born. So it would be hard to tell from this age at the moment.
What kind of roll?
Either investigation or perception. Whichever one is higher.
Same for me. Nat 20.
Lower than that, but 7 plus 15.
32.
7 plus 15?
Oh, 7 plus 15? Sorry, I was 17 plus 15.
22.
22.
Okay.
I don't know, sorry.
Yeah, you... It's hard to get this information considering it isn't on the side of Palmore that everybody can visit. But there is talks of a child in the town looking very, very close to the... Compared to the both of them, the very much scraggly looking one. There's talks of one being born in that town.
And in their research and continued dogging of Catalia's every move, keeping track of every deal they make, does it seem like they care at all about them?
About the two of you, or about the two of the other people?
The other people.
No, it's like once the deal is done, they're just
Okay.
with it.
Then, in that case, Colt is going to keep track of every deal that he can, that Catalia makes, everyone that they hurt while they do this, finds the names of every person who died in the explosion at the beginning, and puts together a case on them, and constantly builds it until the day they die, and sets it up as a little contingency plan, whereas if Catalia messes with anybody that is important to them, he will release it in the hopes to bring down whatever authorities there are on any planet, and even is willing to go as far as giving it to a certain astral elf he doesn't want to ever see in his lifetime, and people who are supposed to be heroes to go kill a monster.
Okay.
And I think if they die before that ever happens, if Santiago is still around, or Santiago's kid, whoever's helming helming all that, we'll hand that off then down to them, down through the generations as just a cold case.
Okay.
I don't know. How long do demigods live?
Yeah, we'll hand it to you.
Fuck!
I think
I left this behind!
That's it for me.
That's it for both of them.
Okay.
Am I the next to go?
Yes.
Fwed.
We're done.
Death.
Fwedwick.
Alright, just to check with you three. You guys all stay on the ship, right?
Yes, I say.
You do not. Alright, I can get rid of all of my Oxforians.
I think Florian made enemies with most of this party, so...
Kind of.
Fred doesn't even feel strong enough to be enemies. It's more like that one guy, that one coworker you have that you just don't really like them that much, but you know you have to see them every day, and it's just like,
Yeah, that's
Hi.
fair. That's fair. I've had plenty.
how was your weekend? Now I gotta hear about this.
How are the kids?
Okay, so you two stay on the ship then.
Yes.
All right. Does Eurlos have like a plan?
God's plan.
Euros' first thing is probably just to let the powers of wrath kind of just acclimate to it, basically. Make sure that people are safe. But once that happens, to eventually just make sure Hygen is cleared out.
Okay. Fred has no plan. He
Real, honestly.
he takes a bunch of rooms on the big ship and like does renovations to turn them into like a lavish apartment. So he has this whole section of the ship that's his big lavish apartment, and he kind of just goes wherever Eurlos and Quinn want to go. He's just along for the ride. He's making his music. He likes to stop by Santiago's every now and then, hang out with his friend, make some more industry connections, the whole shebang.
Ghost Malone.
I'm gonna get it.
And so, apparently, this happens less than I thought if they dip out after a year, but I did zoom in. Yes.
Wait a minute.
What are you doing here?
Again, the coworker that you're like, oh, hi.
Hi, Sandra.
Again, this also happens less than I thought because you dip out after a year, but he sends the biannual brunch invitation to Nephir every year without fail.
Oh, I think Nephir still goes.
Yeah, still
I
goes
think
to
he
the,
still goes.
the biannual brunch. Endless mimosas are too tempting.
So true.
Yay.
Eventually, he has his first big successful album, skyrockets his career. He does great.
What's the album called?
Joseph, what's the name of the album?
Didn't think that far ahead.
Oh, boo.
This is your perfect chance to call the album Fallen Starlight.
Yeah, that's what it's called. There we go.
Yay!
They
said the thing.
Is it a thing?
They said the thing. He does an okay job at being an uncle to Quen's children.
All the track listing is all the episode titles.
It's a long
Make it
track.
He should definitely have a song that he wrote when Gwen has her next kid. And named after the kid. Yeah, absolutely. At some point, he and Grimm worked together to make a classical album. One day his dad dies. Do you have anything to add to that?
Oopsies.
Any other character, NPCs that might do something before Fred does upon the death of the father? Do you think? Or does he just say, fuck it, we ball, and tries to go home?
I mean, you could. Yeah, you could.
Fuck it, we ball, he goes home. I feel like things go well now that his sister is queen.
That's cool.
Very much.
He gets unbanished.
Oddish.
Cool.
Yeah.
Red Lord, Red Lord.
Red Lord.
He gets to reconnect with all of the family that he's been missing. He gets to see his mom again, which is great. Visits his cousins. Yeah, so he also probably sets up somewhat of a home base on his home planet now that he's not banished anymore. Or he probably just stays in the palace, honestly, because he's not there that much. Because he does, I think, stay on the ship because he has to go on tour most of the time. And he's just writing new albums. He has his apartment on the ship. He likes it there, but he likes to check in with his family. At some point, he works with this up-and-coming indie film director, Naira. No one's ever heard of her before.
Oh my god!
Oh, full circle moment.
And he writes all of the music for her movie. He does the brunch every 6 months. It takes like 8 years for Grimm and Fred to really start dating. They slow burn to the extreme. They are dancing around that shit. And then after like just a year or two, they're pretty much acting as though that they're married, but it takes them like 10 years to get married. Like, they're so bad at this.
As it was.
Yeah.
No much has changed there.
Grimm probably still needs some time to get over the fact that he was engaged to Nephir and then died, and that was the whole thing. And Fred just has issues.
That'll do it.
Real as fuck, bro.
Yeah, and then
That's fiasco.
after years and years of trying to outdrink Gwen, at the age of 69, he dies of liver failure.
Sex, booze, and rock and roll, baby!
Iconic behavior.
Wow.
actually. Wow.
Bottomless
beautiful.
mimosas. for
Bottomless
brunch
mimosas
twice a
every
week.
6 months.
And
Wow.
yeah, that'll do it. Out
I'm
drinking
over
a
here.
troll.
Trying to outdrink a troll after like every show. It caught up to him.
Yeah, man, that'll do it.
Also, I forgot to ask you this, but if you have any like, oh no, I guess it'd be your thing. Never mind. Don't listen to me.
Yeah, fuck you,
Your
Kevin.
turn.
Hi, 1 moment, please. I have to look through my list of names really quickly. Okay.
That
So,
gives me a hint.
Well,
all right. So, after all of that, I literally just lost my notes. Give me 1 second. I had it up and then it.
I'm ready. Gone.
Roll dug it, just like Quinn.
Wow.
We're starting off strong. We're starting off
Fred
strong.
and Grimm one night.
Ooh. Oh my goodness. Who is?
I love this song. I love
What's
Apex
happening
Twin.
right now?
So I think
It's hitting the.
Oh.
for a while Quen just she gets on the ship and she takes time to raise her kids with her now 2 husbands, which eventually she will end up having 2 more of. One named
Husbands or
children.
children?
Important clarification.
You know.
Yeah.
One named Tahago, which means close to the moon in Troll, and one named Grail. Shout out to Grail. They're not here right now, but one named Grail. Then she, when her kids are grown enough, she ends up bodyguarding for Fred's band for a while, and she then, during that time, will go to Regalia, and she spends a stint being a stunt director for some movies, and a dually and intimacy coordinator for some of the other movies. So it's her job for a while.
Awesome.
Bodyguard, stunt director, intimacy coordinator. On Regalia, she befriends Tad immediately when she meets him. It's like, she meets him, it clicks, they're best friends. It's awesome. They're, like, terrible.
This is what I
see
get
them
for
around,
making Hollywood.
They're terrible.
Yeah.
I think she still likes fighting, but she also has more time to stop and smell the flowers now. And she spends some time, she writes some books. They're not very well written. One is called The Friendly Mind Flayer, and one is F is for Flash Drive, which gets banned worldwide.
Galaxy.
It's a galaxy-wide ban.
That's one worldwide.
On F is for Flash Drive. She doesn't know.
You have 2 customers.
There's some issues with that book, but like, The Friendly Mind Flayer does pretty well. And after Fred dies, I think she takes some time off from her jobs to reframe her view on life, and she ends up spending the rest of her life as a florist. So for a girl who had never seen stars before she was 25, she traveled a good bit of them, and she's satisfied with her life. So I think Quen dies as Quen lived, which is pretty carefree and proud of her kids, and I didn't have too much, so when she gets to the afterlife, the first person she goes to is her own mom. Did I do a good job? Was I strong enough? And I believe Jacob to decide what the answer is to that.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, that's cute.
Quen's Queer Flowers. That's her flower shop name, probably.
Awesome.
It's alliteration. Still not sure what queer means, but like,
I'm the best to figure it out.
look, we know things. Oh, and Yanu grows up to be a bard, just like his uncle Fred. So that's pretty awesome. Keeps the tunes alive and going. I don't know. She never has her own wedding. Whatever.
I
Doesn't need that.
Makes sense.
She has.
The treading.
That's.
Fred loves those kids, but he's also the.
Oh yeah, you hold him like the fish.
Do you want
like
a beer?
The
He's 9.
You want a beer? Bold of
You're
you
gonna
to
learn
assume
to
that
drink like
Glenn
your
would
mother.
just be like, yes, you can have a beer.
No one's gonna
Like-
outdrink you.
The Chris Hemsworth holding his kid by the ankle. Yes. That's his uncle ability. He could do that while the kid is from like 1 to 2, and then they're troll sized, so that doesn't really work anymore.
Fred takes the rest of the levels in the barbarian just so you can hold up a child.
Yeah.
Look at this thing!
I checked, his strength's not high enough.
Devastated.
What's red stripe?
2.
Not enough for a troll
Hey.
baby.
11? 12? 11?
Oh god.
12.
Mine is 9, so
Yeah.
Pretty sure
to
Florian
the end.
was also like
We both go out weak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only had like
Wait.
2 high strength people, which I think was the 2 of you. But I think even then, you were more dex based than strength based.
Yes, it was.
I think Florian will see fun around. Like,
Maybe.
not
just
doing
chilling.
crime, but she'll be like, look at this book. Wait a second, you can't do that. Sorry.
Ha! Check this shit out!
Oh, man.
Awesome,
you can't.
man!
Wait 8 hours.
Sits down, waits 8 hours. Check this out. Okay. Yeah.
Bam!
Can I say the other thing
Yeah.
before Flor? So I'm gonna just a little thing about Valentine. I think Valentine probably eventually finds out about the syndicate that Colton Netbeard started. Somehow finds a way to figure out.
Accurate noise.
I think he puts his lawfulness aside for them, and whenever people try to go after, he just makes sure he has maybe 1 or 2 little satellite turrets to just decimate ships that go near them. Meanwhile, just chilling in his house playing pinball with his wife and his 1 son that he is named Cass.
Oh, yeah.
So Florian time.
Yay!
The second they get off Infernium, Florian finds a way back to Palmora. And recluses for a good amount of time. In their mind, sure they killed Royce, but 2 people that they were fighting with are now sins, donning the crowns of sins. In their mind, it's a net failure. Some time goes by of them feeling sorry for themselves, you know, what could I have done differently and all that. They regain their mental fortitude and assemble a meeting with other high-up members of their organization without the main leader knowing about it. They meet at the very fun, traveling, massive asteroid-sized nightclub called the Starlight Night to discuss the mission and their belief that Vincent set her up to die because of her abilities, the fact that she can do blind what a lot of people can't do with vision. She believes jealousy played a part in it, and he wanted to stay on top and get rid of the best member. So it takes a little bit of time to convince the others, obviously, but I think eventually they do come to their senses to a consensus about what has to happen. And they determine that sending somebody who is on the table of the organization, not just the organization, but the table itself, is excommunication via death. So they return back to Palmora, back to the sewers, back to the underground organization. Florian kicks in the door and, without much hesitation, puts a bullet in Vince's head. They discard of the body, and Florian takes charge of the Kismet table. And the first thing that they do is they find the records of all the people that they're after, specifically looking for Colt's name. They take a look at Colt's name, and he's done enough for redemption, and burns all the records on Colt, effectively leaving him free from their organization. And they continue training, being a master assassin at this point. One night, Florian travels out to the astral plane to speak to whatever being gave them their night vision, quite literally, their night vision. With their knowledge of the book, of what they heard, they ask the celestial, whatever it is that they can find that speaks back to them. Brain fart. I don't know why you chose me. I don't know why you picked me out of every person, but you chose me to have gifts that others do not. And I ask of you again for something more. I do not ask for my vision. I ask for liberation. I know of this book, and I do not believe that people should live with a predetermined destiny, a pre-written fate. I wish to be severed. I wish to live free. Can you do any of that? God damn it, Kevin!
You don't get you don't get a verbal response, but you do get this this feeling over your body, and your ears start to ring. And there's this new feeling of temperature. Everything feels very cold. And then it all kind of floods back through you.
Mhm.
And that's what you feel.
Okay. Is there anything maybe from? I'm not sure how much this is heard, but the whole severing from fate
Mm.
is the seer's whole thing.
Mm. Yeah.
Would the seer hear? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, this is a different thing.
Okay.
I think with the feeling that goes through, I don't know if they necessarily know what it means, but they ask for one more. I've seen. No, I haven't. I have witnessed.
In character. In character.
I've witnessed the worst in what this world has. I've witnessed the power of sin and what it can do to corrupt people. You have given me the gift to see at night. The final thing I wish for is the gift to see a world of no sin, and I will do what it takes to absolve it. I will live the rest of my life to expunge everything of the plague that Infernium brings upon. I wish to live, and the day that sin is gone is the day that I die with a smile. And returning back to their home, with the leader, as the leader now of the table, they begin to repurpose their organization from what it was once before. The lower level people on the totem pole are still going after gangsters, pirates, etc., crime people. But those who Florian senses with more potential begin to get trained for something different. As Florian begins training a highly powerful organization of devil hunters and demon hunters to put their mission out there as someone who knows what freedom is, eventually wanting to take it one step further so that all can feel true freedom, to be like them, to be awoken. And that's Florian.
Putting a hit out on me. He's actually putting a hit out on me.
Yeah, I don't know when they die.
That's fair.
Holy smokes. Pope Francis has left the valley.
Kevin,
Thank
did you
you
send what I
so
sent
much,
to you?
Kevin. Yeah.
I sent it to them at first because I
So I
saw
sent it to Kevin.
it reminded me of the ones that you always send. I was like, oh.
I knew that
I
Kevin
was
would
like,
send it
this
as
is
soon as I
good.
sent it.
I was like, yeah, sure, I'll do this.
Copy oh. Fucking A.
Yeah.
Earlobes. Haha.
Your last time.
Last to die, or not die, as the case
Not
may
at
be.
all, I don't think.
I think some of the first things that he does is take out, for the most part, take out Hijack. I mean, they were dealing with things, and as you know, anyone who is actively trying to ruin people's lives like that, you got cut down very easily. But I think, as far as the rest of the organization, I think they have a pretty good idea of what they want to do. I think they have a pretty good idea of what they want to do. I think they have a pretty good idea of what they want to do. I think they have a pretty good idea of what they want to do. I think they have a pretty good idea of what they want to do. I think they have a pretty good idea of what they want to do. I think they have a pretty good idea of what they want to do. I think they have a pretty good idea of what they want to do. I think they have a pretty good idea of what they want to do. I think they have a pretty good idea of what they want to do. I think they have a pretty good idea of what they want to do. I think they have a pretty good idea of what they want to do. I think they have a pretty good idea of what they want to do. I think they have a pretty good idea of what they want to do. I think they have a pretty good idea of what they want to do. I think they have a pretty good idea of what they want to do. I think they have a pretty good idea of what they want to do. I think they have a pretty good idea of what they want to do. I think they have a pretty good idea of what they want to do. I think they have a pretty good idea of what they want to do. I think they people who are forced into service, they can return home. And I think he tries to find the person who spoke to him as his father. And knowing that it's not them, and it's just the spirit of them. Basically, it's their soul in another person, but tries to give them a sort of peaceful existence, as almost appreciation. I think he returns home to the asteroid, to the Vidalcan man that he would forever call father, call dad. And if he wishes, he could come along on a ship and sort of also live since that's a fellow mechanic. I think after that, I think one of the first things he does is he works on another ship, the one that he said he would make for Nephew and Cold, and named it the Magic Missile.
Awesome.
He makes it so, because it's entirely homemade, it's not trackable, it's not on any registries, and he gives it to them knowing that they're going to do what it is they do. And if they ever have need of him as someone who can help them, he's always available to be asked. So he, as Wrath, I think it's very reserved. I think you're as a person experiencing sort of emotions for these kind of longer times is still the same person that people found him as. But he, let's say, slow to anger. And doesn't lash out. It's not like sort of wrath as in this all-consuming rage. It's very much a focused pinpoint. He does something wrong. If you do something wrong, it's no holds barred. I think at the end, for everyone, knowing that devils can be in sort of death's domain, I think when he hears or is alerted to the fact that one of his friends dies, I think he tries to be there as a going train. And he definitely, whenever someone has to be buried, he has little vials that whenever he finds their grave, he fills it up with just a little bit of the soil right above their tombstone. And I think he would probably say things just to after even on leading people on to death. I think he would still say something to their graves as almost a memento to himself. I think for Quinn, he says, "You have nothing to fear from death, for your mother's love lasts forever." To Fred, I think he says, to Fred's coffin, he says, people have lost their favorite musician, but I've lost a friend. And then to Colt and Nefix, I'm assuming they're buried right next to each other. And if not,
On top.
As all things
Yep,
should be.
yep.
and if not, then he makes it so they are buried right next to each other. He kind of just pats the ground and says, "Lie softly upon them, thou flesh of worlds. You do not know the heart you carry." That's about it. I think towards the end, at some point, before we die, going back a little bit, I think he would probably want to, in his own sort of interest of what Catalia did and why this was so important, I think he would want to go down to Palmore, to the place that, assuming that he eventually, I think he probably works with Cole and Nefier to find some of this information out of like what they saw, and it's just of like seeing what was so important that it required this much sacrifice. I think for a bit, he will get out into an airlock of a ship over the location of where this town is, and then step out and let himself fall to it.
I'm not gonna roll damage.
Dead. Rip.
Because either way, even if you die when you slam down,
Yeah.
it will take a couple like weeks, maybe a month or so, to all the parts to like, come back together.
Yeah.
But you landed outside of this little kind of circular mountain range, and there's a building pretty close to you that seems to be run down. And that's all that you can kind of see around you at the moment, other than a big castle, but that's farther out.
I also do think that because of the fact that he brought essentially a warlock to the fight who didn't do anything, but saw their patron become Wrath, kill very much. I think some out in the cosmos there's probably a cult of your there's probably a cult of Yurlo somewhere after this guy saw this. So do with that however you guys want.
Yurlo Suaha.
But I think you'll go into the rundown.
Okay. Do you fix that up, that one?
I think eventually. I think it's just natural, like, okay, this thing's run down, let's fix it up.
Gotcha. Okay. After a couple years and everyone being gone, minus Florian, but you don't technically know that.
Yeah.
Because you just dipped out of nowhere. Oh. Well.
It's the quickie floorboards.
It wants to be involved.
That my friend. There's a there's like about 100-year gap, give or take.
Okay. So he has time basically to go to all people's graves before he does this. Then he does it out of a fit of like loneliness.
As you fix this church up, there's this energy of you being pulled, like, you know, when you strike a hammer, it is not just your own force pulling you to do so, but the seer as well.
Mhm.
As there's this feeling of want to get this fixed, similar to the want of getting the seer's pieces back.
Mhm.
Just for the simple fact of he knows it's important to do things and get things done.
Is there, when we fix this church, is there going to be like an office basically and then they get back?
Yeah.
Then I think
When you're walking into the front of it, it is just, you
The
know,
normal
a long,
church.
yeah, and
And
then
then
in the back,
back.
right.
I think in his office, he kind of makes a small little framed photo, and in that photo, he puts the picture that he took of everyone at Santiago's wedding.
I'll say a couple more years go by. There's times where you wake up and you're confused as to how your body got to where you wake up at. If there's any attempt to reach out and ask to see what's going on, there is no response to any questions regarding yourself, but there's responses to other questions. It gets to the point where there's the cracks in your arms that one of your hands is covered more and more as the days go on. And that's very slowly spreading up your arm. Specifically the arm that has the weapon. Where it all started. And there's this sense of an emotion that you haven't felt for a long time. But it's very concerning. There's a tinge of betrayal. But there's still a connection. It is still your body. Just as time goes on, you can't really feel your fingers that much, and you can't really feel your hand. And as you're in the back of your office, there's a little knock at the door in the front of the church.
Get up and open the door.
You and I pull up my notes. Boom. Okay. With the knock at the door, there is a group of people, about 6 or 7-ish. It's hard to tell as your eyes are slightly blurring and with pain. But out of that group, there are 2 that you notice that are very similar to descriptions that you've either heard or seen. One is this very frail, high elf with a cane, a lot of freckles, and blue hair.
But he's got pronouns too.
Nay.
And standing next to them, with their hands still outreached, trying to knock on the door that's now already open, is a very scraggly, disheveled man with a snaggle tooth, brown hair, and little blue hair at the front. And you recognize this as the two people that they heard of. And before you can say anything, you feel a very sharp pain starting at your lips and slowly going into your mouth and then slowly down as it keeps on going. In your mind, you just hear the word sorry over and over in your own voice. And that would be where we would end off your epilogue. And now we're here.
Hello here.
Where it's me talking to you guys. I want to say that I appreciate all of you for joining me in this game, allowing me to run it. Because wow, wow. I enjoyed all of your characters. You all were very amazing. Also, fuck all of you, because you guys make me feel things, and that's not nice.
Not my whole career.
Talk about lore stuff.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Tell us Fred's full name.
You want Fred's full name?
Fred's
That's where
the initials.
we're gonna end the session here as the music slowly plays out.
Evil bastard music.
Woo.
Turn it up.
Fred's full name is Philanimo Raveroth Enrion Dalar.
And that's where we're ending the